So look, you've heard it, right? DEI initiatives are gonna flatten the barriers, remove the bias, create real opportunity, give talented people a shot who never got one before. On the surface, sounds perfect, but I gotta tell you what my 30 years of recruiting data actually shows about this, and it's not what anyone wants to hear.
Welcome to the BobNevin Careers Channel. We're happy to have you here. Get ready to learn something new. Let's do this.
Back in 2015, Fortune 500 companies went all in on this. Like, seriously, all in. Diversity targets, bias training workshops, unconscious bias seminars, billions of dollars. They were determined to break the old boys club and let merit actually win. The goal was crystal clear. Hire differently, promote differently, base everything on performance. Harvard Business Review ran this study by Dobbin and Caleb, looking at 8 million placements over 2 decades. What did they find? Mandatory diversity programs actually reduced promotions for the exact groups they were supposed to help. Women and minorities had lower rates of moving from hire into management tracks. The retention numbers in the management pipeline tanked. I know, that sounds backwards. Why would helping people actually hurt them? I know, it's an interesting concept, but here's the thing nobody talks about. When you mandate a hire, the psychology shifts immediately. You got research from the University of Michigan Heilman and Haynes that show this perfectly. The moment someone knows they're hired as a diversity hire, they walk in under a cloud. Did I get this job because I'm good? Or because I'm just a box to check? That question never leaves. Managers are already assuming gaps. Peers are already skeptical. The program designed to help creates a stigma instead. Then you compare that to companies that ditched the DEI label altogether. They used blind resume screening, skills-based evaluation, structured interviews, no diversity language at all. You know what happened? More women in senior roles, better retention through management levels, performance ratings jumped. Not because they hired differently, but because they were evaluated differently without the label. And before you ask, no, this isn't just one study. The Society for Human Resource Management ran a survey in 2019. 650 HR professionals tracking actual DEI impact. 41% said their diversity programs had zero measurable effect. 27% basically saw nothing. Only 32% reported anything positive. By 2023, Fortune was reporting that 60% of Fortune 500 companies were quietly walking back their explicit DEI programs. Why? Because the data wasn't backing up the story. And here's the part that really matters. Getting hired is one thing. Staying and thriving is another. Gallup did this retention study in 2020. Diverse hires from mandatory DEI initiatives? Get this. 34% were still there after 2 years. Regular hires from that same company? Hello. 56%. That's a 22-point difference. You're probably thinking, maybe those hires just weren't as strong. Wrong. Same study. No performance gap in the first 6 months. So it wasn't about capability. It was about belonging. The DEI mandated hires felt lower psychological safety, higher imposter syndrome, less mentorship from senior people. The initiative created the exact problem it was supposed to solve. Look at McKinsey's Women in the Workplace report from 2022. Companies with strong DEI programs, women's promotion rates from individual contributor to manager actually went down from 28% to 24%. But companies that ditched the DEI language and just used skills-based advancement criteria, female manager rates climbed from 26 to 31%. The label hurt more than it helped. Politics divide. Facts unite. And here's what kills me. When you hire someone and the entire office knows you did it for diversity reasons, you've basically weaponized their own hire against them. Every stumble becomes proof of the quota. Every success becomes, yeah, but they were hired differently. It's brutal for them. It's not good for the process either. Fast forward to 2024. Intel, Walmart, Accenture, they all pumped the brakes on DEI targets, not because they stopped caring about diversity, but because the data screamed that these programs weren't working. Retention got worse. People moved up slower. Employee engagement tanked for the exact groups they were trying to help. But here's what's interesting. Some companies actually pivoted smart. They ditched the mandates and implemented real systemic changes. Structured interviews with no personal details until the final round. Job descriptions based on skills, not degrees. Mentorship that didn't label participants. Promotion criteria that were transparent and identical for everyone. What happened? Hiring improved across every group. Retention improved. Promotions happened faster. And the beautiful part, nobody even knew it was a diversity initiative anymore. They just knew that they were being treated, and here's the magic word, fairly. That's the actual data. Again, politics divide. Facts unite. And this is a great example of this. The real truth is simple. Good intentions plus bad systems equals worse outcomes. When you layer diversity hiring on top of unconscious bias that still exists, you don't fix the bias. You create a new bias. You create doubt. You create a deficit that the person you hired never asked for. Guys, listen, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've hired people. I've watched them get promoted or not. I've seen them leave. And there's this clear difference between someone hired because you believed in them versus someone hired because they checked a box. That difference shows up in week 3. It shows up in whether they stay. It shows up in how colleagues treat them. The data is not even close. Merit-based systems with transparent criteria beat identity-based hiring every single time. Not because diversity is bad, but because slapping a diversity label on someone in a world that still has an unconscious bias, that label becomes a weight they carry forever. You want real diversity gains? You need 3 things. 1, structure your interviews so nobody learns anything personal until the final round. Number 2, write your success criteria in public. Make it identical for every single person in the role. 3, invest in mentorship and real belonging, not hiring programs that announce someone's different. Do that and you hire better. You retain better. Your diverse hires don't spend their whole first year wondering if they actually deserved it. That's not political. That's just data. Political stuff divides. Data and facts and honest truth unites. The myth says mandated DEI fixes bias. The real data says transparent systems and equal standards beat mandates every single time. You can build on good feelings, or you can build on what actually works. The evidence has been sitting there for 8 years. It's not controversial. It's just inconvenient for people who need the problem to stay broken. Look, if this landed with you, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I've seen happen, I'm asking you to do something right now. Like this video. Follow me, because I'm bringing this kind of truth to Rumble every single time I put up a video. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's once a week, but it's no nonsense. Just 30 years of recruiting data versus whatever narrative's trending. And here's the thing. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your manager, your HR friend, that coworker who's wondering why they got hired but don't feel like they belong. The person who's frustrated watching initiatives that sound good on paper but don't actually help anyone or anything. People need to know that data beats ideology every single time. And right now, people are making million-dollar hiring decisions based on feelings instead of facts. So hit that like button, follow the channel, and send this to someone who's been confused by this exact same thing. Maybe it'll straighten them out. And we'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp out there.
Don't do this alone.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to smash that like button, subscribe and turn notifications on, and share with everyone you know. Also leave a comment down below. Say hi or ask a question. Again, thanks for watching and see you in our next video. Cheers.